What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Jigga Car Certified High Performance Coach. We're here with another Sunday Conversation. It's Sunday Conversation time. So if you are listening to this part of the Sunday Conversation, I need for you to hit hashtag replay for me. Hashtag replay. Because that means that you are checking out the replay. And I really love when I see those hashtag replays and people watch it afterwards. Because I know we kind of bounce in and out as far as time, as far as when we do these Sunday Conversations. And so I really appreciate you. I appreciate what it is that you do and you being here and checking it out. And so it's really about, can I drop some positivity in your week? So it's the day before Memorial Day. And it has been a crazy week for me because I've been back and forth between Little Rock. I'm here in my office in Memphis right now, but I've been back and forth between Little Rock. I had like one of my favorite people graduate from high school, and it really made me start to think about graduation. And I want to say something to you that I need for you to understand. You know, we treat graduation like it's the end, but really, it's just proof that we're ready for the next step in our lives. So we treat graduation like it's the end, but really it's just the proof that we're ready for the next step in our lives. And so I got some main points that I want to share with you here about graduation, about like what it is and what we think about with that. And so I need you to understand this. Number one, graduation is not a finish line, it is a pivot point. Okay, what do I mean by that? Graduation is not a finish line, it is a pivot point. So it's not the end. It's not the end of what we're doing. It's not the end all be all of what's going on in our life or whatever as far as that. And I know that for many people, especially like high school graduations become the celebration in your life. Like we've gotten to a point now, it's very interesting that I see that people like celebrate these things that happen. Like you have kindergarten graduation, you have fifth grade graduation, after fifth grade graduation, then you run into the middle school graduation, and then we go to high school graduation. And, there's all these things, right? And we treat those as endings, but they're really just pivot points in our life. And so they get more and more expensive. We do more and more things for them. And hey, I think that we should absolutely celebrate our kids. I think we should absolutely celebrate our kids, our grandkids, celebrate them, be able to do that. But the thing is that when we think about this, as far as like it being the end, all it really is, is that it is proof that we are ready for something new. When we graduate, it's a pivot point to the fact that we are ready for something new. Okay. And so in our life, we all have these multiple pivot points that happen in our life. Whether it is something, so one of my favorite quotes by one of my mentors, by Brendan. So I quote Brendan all the time, Brendan Burchard all the time. And so he said, change only happens in two ways. Something new comes into your life, or something new comes out of you. Change only happens in one of two ways. Something new comes into your life, or something new comes out of you. So I think that we only think about when that new thing that comes into our life, that it is some positive thing that comes into our life, and that's it. But honestly, change can happen if something negative comes into your life as well too. Something new comes into your life, or something new comes out of you. So graduation is one of those things, one of those pivot points. Like we have finished this thing, we finished a task. And so now it's time to pivot into whatever to that next task is. It's not time to stop. It's not a finishing line. It's a place that we shift. And so we have an opportunity in order to be able to graduate in our life, in order to be able to move forward into whatever the thing. So it might be that new business idea. It might be that new structure. It might be that new tool, whatever it is. We have graduation pivot points for ourselves all the time. If that makes sense to you, give me a thumbs up there if that makes sense to you of what I'm saying there. What's up, Miss Ann? I always love seeing you there and being able to see you live, all right? And so if that makes sense to you, that's one of the things. And so when we've had these multiple pivot points in our life, Like at one point in time, I thought that my life was going to be that I was going to play ball. I was going to play football. Playing in college, playing at a high level. That's what I thought. I thought that that's what my life was going to be. And I thought I had it planned out. I said, okay, I'm going to play ball in college. I'm going to go ahead and play in the pros. Hey, what's up, Parashon? I'm glad to see you as well, too. I'm going to play in the pros, and that's the way it's going to be. And it's going to be that I'm going to move on. And then after that, I'm going to run a youth program and be able to do that, right? Well, that's not what happened. Tore my knee up. That was the end of my career. I didn't realize at the time. I took, 6 more knee surgeries after that. But that was the end of my career. That was it. But that was a pivot point. So that pivot point happened to me then now working with young kids, being able to work with some really great people in Hot Springs, to be able to run a nonprofit program and do that and run that. And so I ran that nonprofit program while I was working. I was just like my dad, an employedpreneur. Having this side hustle, this thing, this dream, that's where I got that all from David Carr. That's where that came from. All right. So understand that when you see me talking, you see David Carr. I got to spend time with my godparents, last week as well too, because I was, in St. Louis for a funeral. And, I got to spend time with my godparents, and my godmom was like, you are your dad's child. And that's because he's like, he would be so proud of you about all the different things it is that you're doing. And so I recognize that and see that. But all it is a pivot point. So I'm not here just to talk about myself. I want you to think about that for yourself. What does that mean for you? Where are those pivot points in your life? Where is it that something ends? It's not an end. It is a pivot point. It is a point to the next place. It's a point to be able to point to where we go, to how it is that we get those things done. Okay. And so that's the thing. And so it moved from that, for me running that nonprofit, to then me coming up with and running a basketball tournament. And that basketball tournament led to a basketball magazine, like running a magazine. And I was like, oh, I can run this small business. And then, so like, I'm there. By that time, I was moving up in the corporate world as well, too, and figuring that out. And so I realized, oh, I really don't want to work for someone else. Like, I really, really don't. I really don't like actually reporting to someone. I really don't like doing all this work and getting a small percentage of the money. Like, I want to be able to grow the larger percentage of the money. So I could have just said that and just complained about that, right? Like, that could have been it. I could just complain about that. I could have spent my 20s and my 30s complaining about that. But instead, for me, it meant, let me figure out, how do I create something that's my own? Which is why 20 years ago, I started the consulting business and started being able to figure out how to move forward and how to kind of navigate these waters and what does that look like in order to do so. So that was a graduation of sorts. And so it's not a finish line, it's a pivot point. No matter what happens in your life, no matter what illness comes into your life, what sickness comes into your life, what good thing comes into your life, what bad thing comes into your life, whatever it is, it's just pivot points. And so we have the opportunity, in order to be able to pivot into other things, into other places, into places that you had no idea that you would go. So like, I had no idea, like, when I started, because honestly, where my consulting business came from was the fact that I was a Toastmaster. And so I got to be, in the world's greatest speech contest, and to make it to the finalists of that contest, to be able to become a finalist of that contest. So like, when you become a finalist in that contest, like, out of all the hundreds of thousands of people, you get down to that finalist of that, and then now people look at you differently. So they look at you differently. So now you have to figure out how to be able to do that. So that was a graduation point for me. I need you to twist this for your life. I can only talk about my life as it relates to that, but I need you to twist this and think about it in your life. Because look, those were good things that happened, right? Those are things. But then, like, oh man, I got sick. Like, then, like, having open heart surgery, like that was a shift. That was a change in my life. That was a change. Losing both of my parents, losing my dad earlier, losing my mom, a couple of years ago now, as far as that. All those things, those are shifts that happen. Those are pivot points. What are the pivot points that you're making in your life? That's what I want you to understand, okay? But there's another, number two, the second thing I want you to understand is there's another type of graduation, and that's the invisible kind, okay? So if that type of graduation, that's the type of graduation where no one cheers, but it matters. So there's these big graduations, there's these big positive things that happen in our life, right? And those are big, and people like, oh, yay, good job. Yeah, you did this. Yay, people cheer for it. Okay. But there is a graduation that happens in our life where we graduate from procrastination, where we graduate from fear, where we graduate from the things it is that have held us back, where we graduate from being the backup plan in our own life, where we graduate from being the backup plan in our own life. Many of us right now, we are the backup plan. What we do for other people is the number one thing. And then we are the backup plan in our own life. What does that mean? That means that we're going to always get to it. Whatever that thing is that we thought that we were going to do, we're going to always get to it. Whatever that thing is that we wanted to be able to create, we're going to always get to it. It'll be down the line. And that gets pushed down the line and pushed down the line and pushed down the line and pushed down the line. That's what happens. And so we have to graduate from that procrastination of that, graduate from the fear of it. Because many times when we're talking about fear, that's fear. We're like, oh, but if I do that, then people are going to laugh at me. No, they're not. People are so tied up in their own stuff. They do not care about what it is that you're doing. Even if people are talking about what it is you're doing, it's only going to be for a short amount of time until they find the next thing to talk about. That's the way it works. Most of the things it is that we fear, like the worst things in the world, honestly, were like the fear of the thing. It never was the thing. It was worrying about whatever the thing that was going to happen. That was the worst part of it, honestly. Think about it. In most of the things that have gone on in your life, all right, most of the things that have been hard in your life wasn't what you thought it was going to be a lot worse than what it actually was. I know that many of us have had things that have swept our legs out from under us. I literally have had my leg swept out from under me. Okay. So I get that. I understand that. All right. But also understand that most of the time it's the fear and the worry about what it is that it could possibly be and all the different things. That's way worse than what it actually ever ends up being. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. So I need you to understand that and be able to see that. Okay. And so we need to graduate from procrastination, graduate from fear, graduate from being the backup plan in our life. Because many of us is what we are. And so I tell you, me getting a little mortality motivation makes me look at things differently as it relates to that. It makes me want to do more. It makes me move faster, move quicker in the things it is that we do because I want to get them done so that they can affect the world. Because otherwise, how am I going to know? Like, honestly, this device that I'm on right now, it is a imperfect device. I'm on a phone, right? Who would have thought, I'm old enough to remember when we didn't have cell phones. Who would have thought that we could sit around and that we could go live and have our own television studios in our pockets? Okay. Who would have thought that? Like, that's an amazing thought. This is real George Jetson stuff that we're doing. The fear and worry can be crippling, Miss Ann. It really can. Okay. And so this is George Jetson stuff we're talking about here. I'm sitting here in my office in Memphis talking to you wherever you are. You're wherever you are. You can interact with me. You hear this later on or whatever. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that that was even possible? But this is an imperfect device. Like, if they waited for this to be perfect before they put it out, it would never come out. One of the first things you get when you get a new phone is you get an update. People have been mad about the Android update that came out a couple of weeks ago. I didn't actually go through the anger of that because my phone broke. And so I had to get a new phone. And so I thought it was my new phone that was tripping, but it wasn't. But like, literally, there's updates all the time. There's updates to it. I need you to treat your dreams that way. I need you to go ahead and put your dreams out there and update your dreams. It's okay if it's not perfect. It's not ever going to be perfect. The picture is not ever going to be the exact right color. The words aren't going to ever be exactly right. What we have is an opportunity to be able to update our dreams, be able to push our dreams forward, be able to make the things happen in our life and be able to get those things knocked out. That's what it really is. Okay. So it's that silent shift that happens in your life, that silent shift away from the fear, that silent shift away from the procrastination, that silent shift away from putting yourself as that second person, as the second or third or fourth or fifth person, let's be honest. Because many of us will go out there and we will break our back for our kids, the grandkids, the nephews, the nieces, the all the people, right? We'll break our back for all of those things, right? We'll do that. But we don't actually do that for ourselves. We're always the second or third or fourth class citizen. When is it you're gonna break that and graduate away from that and be able to move forward? That's the thing. All right. So simply, what's your next step? For some people, it's writing that book you've been sitting on. It really is. Like, you've been sitting on this thought, you've been thinking, sitting on this process. For some people, it's starting that business, whatever that business is, because I know we're in scary times right now. We want to hold on to whatever that piece of thing it is that we're holding on to, and hold on to it with white knuckle grips. Well, guess what? It is in times of damage like this. It's in times of chaos like these. This is when those things are made. This is when things are made. This is when fortunes are made. Dude, you know how many people like made the millions that their family made was during bootlegging, during prohibition? Okay, there was something that where it was something that there was chaos, there was government regulation, there was different things that was with that. What I'm not saying is let's go out and break rules. No. What I'm saying is that we have to think about things in the way we have all these opportunities that we never would have had before, that our parents would die over. The fact that we had these unbelievable opportunities, these chances and opportunities in order to be able to make it. Look, for some people, it's automating that business and scaling. We should be automating what it is we're doing. Like, I saw someone and they were talking about how great this restaurant was. And then, like, when I went to their website, when I went to their Facebook page, they were like, hey, we're not taking orders by phone or by whatever right now, or in person right now. You have to like only order on our online. That's it. I'm like, dude, like, why wouldn't you have all ways for people to be able to come in? We've got to graduate from that type of thinking. We have to graduate from the things that are there that are in front of us. We have to graduate from the fear and graduate into a structure, into being able to get those things done. Okay. What's up, Brett? I see you there. It's about owning your brand. Okay. It's about owning your brand. How do we own our brand and not hide in the shadows? Too many of us are hiding in the shadows for what it is we do. That's what our next step is. We've got to step forward. Write that book. You got to step forward. Put that course out. You got to step forward. Put that structure out. Be able to show people who it is and what it is that you are and how it is that you create. That's really what it is. That's what I am here to do and to share for you to move forward. Stop being afraid of it. You may say, oh, I'm big and bad. I'm not really afraid of it. Stop being afraid of it. Move forward with it. Be able to figure out how we get it done. Graduation is not the finish line. It's the pivot point. Okay, let's pivot on to the next thing. Pivot on and be able to figure out how they do it. There's another type of graduation, the invisible kind. We're graduating from the fear, from the different things that are there that are in front of us. So what's your next step? What is that thing that you're putting off? What is the thing that you are saying? What is that you're allowing yourself to be the second class citizen in your life? Take those steps. Say, look, if you're ready to take those steps, holler at me. Challenge yourself. Let me know. Tell me you're ready. You're ready to take those steps to be able to figure out how do we get that done. Where in your life do you need to graduate? Not with a cap and gown, but with a decision. Where do we need to make a decision in our life? What is it that we need to be able to do, be able to grow, be able to figure out how we're able to get it done? That's what I want you to share. That's what I want you to be thinking about it. Whatever your next step is, I'm about it. Don't say anybody else doesn't have your back as far as figuring out how it is. I want to help be able to figure out how we get that done. All right. So holler at me. Let's figure out how we do it. It is scheduled Sunday. We got a short week for many of us. Many of us do not have to work tomorrow. Tomorrow is a work day for me, though. I'm going to be really working on meeting with some clients, being able to figure out how we get some things done, how we get things knocked out. Sunday for me is about schedule Sundays. So it's about how it is that we schedule our week, get things knocked out. Monday for me is Magic Monday. It's how can I deliver magic into my business? So I concentrate on clients that can pay me 3 to 4 times what my normal client pays me. All right. Tuesday for me is Talk About It Tuesday. We talk about our business to every person it is who we meet. Too many people don't even know that you do the work it is that you do, and you are great at the work it is that you do. All right. Then we have Wednesday, which is Work It Wednesday. I work in my business, not necessarily on my business. All right. So that's about education and being able to pull that. Thursday is Together Thursday. How can we collaborate? How can we collaborate and work with people who we have synergy with in order to be able to move forward? Friday is Follow Up Friday. Follow up on all those things that fell through the cracks. Make sure that we get those things done. And then Saturday, Saturday, we're going to do is stay sane. That's really it. Have a fantastic week. I'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.